Hey everyone, welcome to this video. I don't know, I thought this would be a good idea, and honestly, the prep work is already done, so it probably is gonna be a good idea, but seeing how I was severely lacking last year in updating you on what I was reading, I thought it would be a really fun idea to show you everything I read in 2023 and give a one-sentence review for each and every book. That way you're up to date and I'm up to date and it'll be fun. Luckily, I didn't read that much last year. I read 51 books. I don't own all of them, so if I don't own it, I'll just like pop a picture up, but these are the ones that I do own. And this is gonna be fun. Actually, I'm pretty excited about it. I feel like I'm underselling it. Apollo, sorry. We have an adorable assistant that is trying to actually make my life a little bit harder. Come on, you want to say hi to everybody? If you want to be so involved, do you want to say hi to everybody? No, you really don't, do you? Okay, go. Onward. Okay, this is already off to an interesting start. I feel like maybe my background's kind of dark for this, but you know what? It's about the books anyways. It's not about the aesthetics. On that note though, I cut my bangs last night and I think they're crooked. It's fine. I tilt my head a lot. Anyways, so let's just get started. I feel like I have a way of making things much longer than they need to be. This is in the order that I read things in. I hope you enjoy this video. This is a little fun, like, catch up with me and let's see what happens, you know? Okay, so anyways, the first book that I read, apparently, in 2023 was Book of Night by Holly Black. I have notes, by the way, that way I don't ramble. Oh, okay, wait. The first, like, 8 books that are in my notes, I actually was just writing a one-sentence summary for, not, like, a review. But some of them I thought were pretty funny. When you add together a very layered plot, a world where shadows got turned into magic, and a con artist that's trying to clean up her act and her lifestyle just won't let her, it honestly is a recipe for something that I would absolutely adore, even if it moved a little slow at times. Oh yeah, did I mention that my sentences will likely be run-on sentences? Because they will be. Anyways, yeah. I'm not going to tell you the ratings for each and every book. I think I want to do like a 5 stars versus 1 stars video eventually, so that's why I'm not going to really give you the ratings, but I did really like that. Oh my gosh, I hope this isn't how every single one is going to go. The next one that I read was Tomie by Junji Ito. This was actually a reread, and let me think of a quick review because, like I said, apparently the first 8 I didn't write one for. This is dark and creepy, and somehow you are actually rooting for all of the people that keep killing the girl because she's too pretty, which makes no sense. We are girls here, but Tomie? The next book that I read was The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. That's my best French accent that I could give you. I never thought that I would actually authentically take life advice from a little prince from a distant planet that may or may not be real, but I think about it all the time, so fantastic. A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Once again, a reread, and everyone else may hate Nesta for being a very mean and abrasive character, but I will forever love her and love her even more after this story. And cherry on top, spicy. Another reread. I guess I just started the year off rereading things, which is fun. But Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Actually a book I'm authentically glad I reread, because since I listened to the audiobook the first time, I didn't actually get to absorb how beautiful the writing is in it, and that is something that I recommend. Next up is Hunting Adeline by someone. I'll put the book up right here so you know who it is. Somehow made a murderous stalker from the first book the hero in comparison to the atrocities our main character goes through in this one. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. Then I read The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. And honestly, what's a better bonding experience between a new young stepmom and her husband's teen daughter that absolutely hates her than looking for said husband who somehow hid his whole life from both of them? Not much, but somehow still is dull. Oh my gosh, I can't give one sentence, can I? The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. The main character was such an unlikable and boring suburban housewife blogger that I was actually rooting for her downfall. It'd be like that sometimes. The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. How can a book with so much magic and murder and dark gothic university vibes still fall short? Pacing. That's why. Then I read Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. All I have to say is it's absolutely wild to me that I can fall so deeply in love with a book and almost hate it more than anything just because of the last 8 pages. Still love it though, but damn. I've got to stop blocking my phone. Then I read Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. I'm not surprised that a food game show style book made me hungry, but I was surprised by the spice levels, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you do. Then I read Take a Hint, Talia Brown. Okay. Then I read Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. And my Goodreads review said it best, actually. But what could be more relatable than a hyper-independent, workaholic girl and an emotionally open, relationship-loving golden retriever boy? I loved it. Then I read Vladimir by Julia May Jones. And I just feel like reading from a middle-aged white feminist perspective that's trying to steal another woman's young husband is just the start of the hypocrisy of her annoying character. Yeah, that was kind of mean. It's still true, but still kind of mean. Ooh, A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. While it was slow, I kind of wish I'd never read Dracula in the first place and only read this because he kind of sucks and his lovers are absolutely fantastic. And he doesn't deserve them, if that wasn't obvious. Ooh, get ready for one of like my longest run-on sentences. But The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. I'm gonna read it. Authentically one of my favorite reading experiences of the year, and maybe it was just because it has a criminal knife-wielding girl and her in-disguise djinn traveling with the crown prince who kills all the djinn in their world, or maybe it was the incredible plot or the magic, or just because it has fantastic quotes. You tell me. It might be any one of those things. I need coffee. Is this going well? Do you think so? Maybe I should drink water. Then I read The Maid by Nita Prose, and I now think way too hard about chewing my food after reading this, but I mean, that's not actually my one sentence that I wanted to use. In all honesty, though, I'm like extremely attached to the very likely neurodivergent main character in this who is actually being framed for murder. I loved this. But I really do think too hard about chewing my food now. She has like a certain amount of times that you have to chew food before swallowing that she read somewhere is like good for your digestive health. And I think about it like every time that I'm scarfing down food without breathing. So yeah. Oh, I swear I owned this book and I can't find it anywhere. So anyways, bop. The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. The only thing I really have to say about this is thank you so much for telling us and not showing us how Not Like Other Girls, our super badass main character that is not falling for the Shadow King's charm and is only trying to woo him to murder him is, because I hate when stories show me things instead of telling me. Yeah, that's really actually how I felt about it. It was fun, but like way too much showing and not telling. Next up was Only a Monster by Vanessa Len, which is a time-traveling book that I actually authentically enjoyed, and one of the only times that I was actually rooting for the blonde love interest. Seems like a good reason to pick it up to me. I know, this might come as a surprise if you guys have watched me for a while, but I reread actually November 9th by Colleen Hoover. The only thing I have to say about this is maybe we should have stopped after the first November 9th and never gotten any more stories from that date. Just a thought. I'm gonna be honest, there's a few Colleen Hoover hate reviews. Nothing against you if you like Colleen Hoover, but it's just not for me. Speaking of, All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover as well. And it's one relationship, 2 timelines, like a dual timeline. And somehow our main character got more immature when she was older. Oh, immature and insufferable is actually what I wrote. So, Bully by Penelope Douglas. I wish I could tell you that I wasn't kicking my feet and giggling at every trashy, mean, toxic, bullying remark in between the 2 love interests, but I definitely was. Like, it's trash, but it's good trash. Then we have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which, as a self-proclaimed Disney adult, our main character was still too much for me, even if a billionaire is on the line. Sorry, it's just too much. Too cheesy. Rival, also by Penelope Douglas, the next book in the Fall Away series. And I was still kicking my feet and giggling at every toxic, mean, interaction between these step siblings. Yeah, no, I wish I could say I never like trash, but there's a lot of times where I actually authentically really do love trash. So this is for all my trashy girls that love trash. I'm just saying, it's not bad to like trash. It's just, you know, sometimes there's books that aren't like authentically good, but you still love them, and that is fine. You can do whatever you want to do. You can like whatever you want to like, and you can even think it's not trash, but it still might be. It's okay. Next we have Gild. Every single time that King Midas talked, I ground my teeth just a little bit more. Glint, the book that I actually thought was the first book in the series until I was 70% of the way through and realized it was the second book. And maybe that's the reason I was actually relieved that she was kidnapped in this one. But maybe it has something to do with the fact that I thought this was the first book until I was 70% of the way through, and then I realized there was a book before it, and that's when I picked up the first one. Yeah. Gleam, where the only thing I can actually say about this is, for the love of God, why does his power have to be rotting things? Rot? I'll gag. I don't like it. And finally, Glow, also by Raven Kennedy, which I just realized I didn't tell you that the entire time, but by Raven Kennedy. This is the one where the literal golden girl finally gets a chance to actually shine. What's the point of being gold? You're still somehow not shining. The Book of Azrael by Amber Nicole. She's a demon girl, he's an almost god, and I'm an absolute sucker for the lore and mythology of this entire world. This was fun. Then I read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I gave it a chance, and I never will again. It ends with me. So actually, okay, you know what my real one-sentence review is for this? It's wild that this is marketed as a romance when the actual romantic relationship in it is so terribly toxic. That's a marketing thing though, but like still, why? Why market it that way? Then we have Confess, also by Colleen Hoover. Actually, really the only one that I haven't completely hated. Like, the love story is still a little bit toxic, but I'm actually obsessed with the idea of an artist who gets anonymous submissions of people's secrets and then turns them into paintings. I love that concept. It's so cool. So cool. I don't know about the story, but the concept. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is the Reylo fanfic that finally made me understand the hype around Kylo Ren. And at the same time, made me feel kind of like a smart scientist while reading it. Which who doesn't like that? Ooh, okay. Then I read The Serpents and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I will forever be here for a championship, once-in-a-lifetime, only one survivor type of game, and then you add a love interest that's supposed to be our main character's enemy? Yes, thank you. Yes. Oh, and then I read Gild again, which is in that pile. But I reread it for that really long video I made on it. I'll link it up above if you care. And I don't think I'll ever reread that first one again. We're getting into like my Kindle part of the year. I was very much on my Kindle for a while. This is before I even had a Kindle, which is ironic. But I read Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. As a fellow reader girl who has also wished that I could fall into a fantasy world and fairy tale, I get why she's so invested in staying and helping the 4 really hot fae male princes. I get it, girl. I mean, is it well done? No. Did I still eat it up? Yes. And then I also read Woven by Gold by Elizabeth Helen, and like I said, I get it. Even when the plot is insufferably predictable and not that well written, I still get it. Then I picked up Beast Boy by Cami Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo. I watched Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go, growing up, and never knew that Beast Boy's real name was Garfield, and somehow that was the least shocking part of his entire backstory. Ooh. Then we have The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. This is actually probably my favorite thing that I picked up all year, and it could have something to do with the fact that I'm absolutely obsessed with like ancient Greece and ancient Rome, but it could also have something to do with the fact that Amara is one of the most like intelligent and strong main characters. One or the other. Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I mean, who wouldn't want to be babysat as an adult by their brother's hot, millionaire, genius, and really mean best friend? Who wouldn't? Finally, I picked up Heartstopper Volume 2 by Alice Oseman, and all I can say is if you want your heart to smile and to feel a spark of joy and hope in life, you should read this. Cutest fucking thing in the world. Then we have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, and all I can say about this is when the writing is so delectable that I absolutely forgive the fact that the love interest is blonde, and completely forget that the jargon in this is mostly very technical because of our professor field study main character. Field study professor? I don't know. She's a professor and she does field studying. And she's writing an encyclopedia, and I was like, such good writing. Then we have The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten, and you know what? I'm still a sucker for love triangles, court intrigue, and falsified histories so that the ruling class can rule the peasants easier, even when it drags a little. My summaries were getting so much better towards the end. The first ones sucked. I'm so sorry. Then it was Beast Boy Loves Raven by Cayman Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo, and this fulfilled all of my expectations of Raven and Beast Boy meeting for the first time. And then you add a bunch of other Teen Titan characters in here. Well done. Oh. Then we have These Twisted Bonds by Lexi Ryan. This was so predictable and honestly copy and paste from other fantasy books that it hurt, and then you also add in a fade to black scene. I was shocked. Then we have Fourth Wing, which I made a whole video on. So, sure, the writing was mid, but you gave me dragons, an enemy shadow boy, a girl who is against all odds and quite literally just wanted to read, a war college where only a third of the people survive, and also, did I mention dragons? I'm gonna love it. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I never trusted the rich people from the start, but I could have actually never guessed how this book would end. Another reread, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I reread it again and loved it even more than the first times, even if Selena's inner monologue is pretty cringe at times. Then I read Organized Chaos by Drethi Annis, a book that I actually did forget that I had read, much like the main love interest completely forgot that the main girl is his best friend's little sister who he quite literally helped raise. Just forgot all about it. Then we have The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, and I mean, when you have a spooky, potentially haunted house, a hero-worshipped author hosting a writing retreat, and you have excerpts from the books that these novice writers are writing, and then you add in mystery, I'm gonna love it, even if sometimes, in some ways, it fell just a little short and went a little too long. The ending, actually, was what saved it for me. Ooh. The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. A gorgeous gothic horror, a gorgeous gothic haunted story that this was, oh my god, I can't even put it into words. Okay, I wanted this to do what Mexican Gothic did not do for me, and not only did it do that, but it gave me more. It gave me more. Then I read The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, and I mean, it's hard to believe that the second book was somehow sweeter, cozier, more mysterious, and hotter than the first one. And the last book that I read in 2023, surprise, surprise, it was a reread, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. And I'm very glad that I reread it, because how did all of that happen in the first book, and how was I supposed to remember that for when the third book comes out at the end of this month? Why does so much happen in these books? Anyways, is that really it? I think that's it, which is good because my battery's gonna die. I don't know if I did this right, but we're gonna say I did because I worked really hard on writing all those summaries except for the first 8 that I did not write, you know? Here's to an even better reading year this year, but I am actually very glad with how I read last year. There was a lot of physical reading, a lot of annotating, which is something that I hadn't done in a while. So even though it was 51 books, that is still, honestly, that's a good amount. That's a pretty good amount, but I want to read more this year. Yeah, give me a one sentence review of your either favorite or most hated book of last year. I'd love to see that in the comments, and if you can't think of one, then just use one of those cute little like gray hearts. I just noticed there's a gray. I always use black and white. I kind of like the gray. So that'll be it for today's video, and I am gonna finish my coffee, even though it's nighttime, and put all of my books away into my shelves, and pray that I don't hate this video when I go to edit it. And that I was in focus, because I can't see anything. It's too far away. Anyways, mwah. I will catch you. Oh no, is that what my bangs looked like this whole time? This is so unfair. I love bangs, and then I realized that I love bangs when I can specifically know exactly where they are at all times, and my hair doesn't do that, so I don't normally love them. Tell me, how do you feel about the bangs? How do you feel about the dark hair coming through? Because this is my natural hair color, and I think that I'm digging it. We should stick with brown for a while. I was really blonde for a long time. And then I was copper, and now it's just growing out and weird. My best look yet.